5:11. It's okay. Good morning, everybody. Apologise I was late. That wasn't a good start. First of all, I'd like to introduce what I'm going to be doing today, and that is that I'm going to be talking about sight impairment. I work with a number of people that do suffer with that, so when I'm training I have to be incredibly aware about it. So I thought I'd bring to you some of the things that I've researched, some of the things that I've looked at that actually do help, and hopefully you can take it away as other people that are going off to do teaching and tutoring. You will find it useful, hopefully. Please ask any questions you go along. You might have noticed I've just given you some cards. You've got red, amber and green. There's a reason for that, because what I'm going to do is I want to try and assess what you already know first off, if that's possible, and then we'll do it throughout the session to see if you're getting some information, hopefully. So, first of all, has anyone done anything at all to do with sight impairment or worked with anyone with sight impairment? If you have, can you hold your green card up for me? Great. Okay, if you haven't and you've got no knowledge at all, the red is for that one. And if you've got some little knowledge, then maybe the amber. So I'll let you choose which one you've got. Got a bit of a mixture. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do first off is, you've noticed I've given you a handout, and inside the handout it gives you the different types of sight impairment that you may come across. And obviously we've got total sight loss as well. But the ones that I'm going to be looking at today, the ones where they're sort of like hidden barriers really. When we're teaching, when we're training, it is actually very hard to work out if anybody's got any of these sight impairments. Sometimes people don't tell you, they don't like to be earmarked, okay? And we have to be very aware of that as trainers. So in fact we have to start to use some of our skills. And what we can do is I want to do two things really, is to demonstrate to you that what you do will matter, and it will include the learners. And we did talk about colour. You might have noticed I've got a bit of colour going on here, and one of the key things is that we'll be looking at some things that will help, okay? So, before we start, is there any specific knowledge that you've got that you could pass to the other groups? I know, Toby, you said you've got some knowledge. So
yeah, I currently work as a learning support assistant with deaf-blind adults in Vicence.
Yes.
And I've previously worked in supporting kids in schools and sort of doing things like setting up their computers with JAWS and how, the screen reader software and the screen enlarger software. So
excellent. So you've done quite a lot.
Yeah.
And you found a huge difference with working with people if they've got the right sort of...
Yeah, if they've got the right equipment, it
makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've also brought with me today some glasses, and I'm going to get you just doing a little activity as well, because the thing about it, it's all very well me showing you pictures, but that doesn't really mean very much. So what I would like you to do is try and attempt to do something with some glasses, and I want to put you into those people's shoes. And actually, if you just do that alone, it will start you to sort of, when you're planning things, to actually think about and take into account people, as I say, with these hidden barriers. So first thing we're going to do is, I've got a set of basically all the ones that I've got on here that I've highlighted on my handout. I've got glasses for, okay? What would be useful, because of obviously time constraints, is that I give you one set of glasses and one task to do. But what I'd like you to do, if possible, is to also have a go at passing them around after you've done your task, because it would be nice for everyone to see. So, there's ones I'm holding up now, people that are prone, and it's on your handout, if they are diabetic, and they're likely to have had some sort of sight impairment due to diabetes. It's not always common, but it can happen. This is a sort of sight problem they might have. Now, I can't replicate exactly, because I'll tell you now that the actual shapes float up across the eye, so I can't really replicate that, but I can show you what it roughly looks like. Can I give you those, Paul? Is that all right? Okay, and I'll give you a task to do in a minute, if that's all right. Then I've got tunnel vision. These all look very funny. I know I'm a bit of a Blue Peterite, so I make these. They're very expensive to buy online, but they're very cheap to make. So these are B&Q safety glasses. I do a bit of tubing. Absolutely, that's me. I've done it all my life. So again, this is tunnel vision, but if you can see as well, I've put that down, and it is very closely linked to glaucoma as well. Okay, in the latter stages of dementia, people will suffer from this sort of sight vision. Okay, so it's very common you'll see either people with glaucoma or in fact tunnel vision, and that's why people with dementia not only have sort of many other problems, obviously memory loss, etc., but they also have problems with their vision, and it's quite key that you bear that in mind when you're working with people with dementia. So can I give those to you? Do you mind, Toby? Is that right? And then I've got the other ones as well. This one is left field vision, so now I give that one to you as well. That's very much closely linked with people that suffer from strokes. Quite common that you might end up with left field vision. And again, I haven't put that into the handouts. I've got the other two there. One is for cataracts and then macular degeneration. So I've got those as well, but we'll do those after once we've done the activity. Is that all right? So you can have a look through those as well. So, activity. If you wouldn't mind, could you put your glasses on first? And I've got here, this is going to be quite tricky, but I'm going to tell you where I'm going to put it. And it's directly in front of you. Can you see that? Can you see the piece of paper? Okay. So, if possible, could you fill out the words that are missing? Okay. But for you, Paul, this is a mathematical one, I'm afraid. Okay, so you can have a go and see if you can work that one out. And I'll try and keep it reasonably simple for you. But I've got here a measuring jug, and all I need you to do is, the water's in here, is to actually measure out 4 fluid ounces for me. Okay, with your glasses on. Well, I think what we'll have to do is move some things away just in case. And if you can have a go at doing those skills with the glasses on, that would be brilliant.
Sorry, did you say how much?
4 fluid ounces. If you can find it on there, that would be lovely. Is it hard with the glasses on? Are you finding it quite tricky? Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Oh, you could probably put your glasses underneath if that helps. I've had people do that before because they said, oh, I don't actually see very much. Did you find it tricky with those glasses on?
Very tricky.
It's really hard, isn't it? If it had been on white paper, I'll just show you the difference as well. On white paper from there. Because I have got something on white paper. What's that like for you? Oh, that's the maths one, sorry. That one, there we go. What's that one like? Better, worse?
For me, that's actually a bit better.
Is it? That's interesting.
Because I think the contrast is slightly better, but I think part of the condition would be... I don't know, actually.
That's okay. Do you know what? Lots and lots of people with healthy eyes actually say that for them, black and white's absolutely fine. So I was expecting you to say that, but obviously we're looking at somebody who's got that sight impairment. So for somebody with that sight impairment, they're going to be experiencing something else to what you are. Have a look at the others ones as well as we do some feedback. I'll let you have a look, and if you want to pass them around as well, I'm very happy for you to do that. So it's quite interesting to see what everyone else was experiencing there as well. What sort of things did you find hard from the things that I asked you to do?
Apart from remembering my time.
Okay, so that was memory.
With that one, I can imagine is that if the stuff is floating up, you said it would float.
It would.
Very
distracting.
I really would have a problem with that. Because actually, even with that, you're spotting out parts of the numbers, so you have to move your head around.
Absolutely.
Like that,
and you're right, if it was floating up constantly, it would actually be very disruptive to the learning process. I actually don't do sensory loss training at work. I'd love to. I'm frustrated that I can't get onto it. We have a lady that comes in, but I have to say I have put these glasses together in the hope that I can use them back at work, and I think hopefully they work quite well, so I'd quite like feedback on that if that's okay. So what sort of things do you think is going to help somebody? I mean, colour has obviously come out already, okay. Anything else that you think might help somebody with sight impairment?
Font size?
Size, absolutely. Font size, yes. Font size is really important, and with tunnel vision, we can actually go too big. Because one of the things I did on this, on purpose, was to make the writing quite big, to make it extra hard for you. If I'd have made it a pitch 14, you'd be able to get that straight away, because it's actually within the boundaries of the site. Yeah. So actually thinking about font size for particular different, because it's not standard, is actually really important as well. So for different...
So for that tunnel vision, you wouldn't have, the font size wouldn't be...
It probably actually...
better to have.
Yeah, if you've got a smaller font, because you only see structure on
if you try the tunnel glasses, Paul, you'll see it's so minute, you actually don't really, and it takes away your peripheral vision. So what happens in point of practice is you actually lose your spatial awareness completely. So you can't even, to get up and walk with tunnel vision is absolutely horrible. You have to have everything in front of the person, you can't move out of view. And do you know what? It's so hard to detect that someone's got tunnel vision. Their eyes actually look almost completely the same as ours.
That is real tough, isn't it?
It is tough.
Real tough.
Any other things that you can think of that might assist somebody? Font size is a good one, so size, colour, anything else?
Thinking about colour of the lettering on the colour of the background.
Yeah, colouring of lettering. So colour on both really. Background. You can get acetates as well that sit over the top of all your sheets, so they're quite useful. Yeah. And you might want to look at things like magnifiers as well. There's a lot of magnifiers on the market, and again, a very, very useful tool, and can also enhance people learning requirements. So if you think you've got anybody on your courses that possibly need this, then these are the sort of things that you should have readily available, because somebody may not necessarily come with it. And it just opens the door to a lot more learning. Any other things that you can think of? It will help if I give you the rest of the handout as well. Basically, what I've done is I've gone through each type of activity that you might be working with people. So, for example, I've put in reading. I've also put in computers. Writing, lighting is really important as well. So we'll add lighting there. But if you want to add that to the centre of your... What colour have you got? Just get the colours. Oh, actually, that's Angela's one, isn't it? There we go. We've got... Green for you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. I don't remember green one's gone. Multicoloured. Yes, colour. And also, as I say, if you're working with people, think about lighting as well. Think about where you're placing people as well. We do it for people who are hard of hearing or have profound deafness, that we make sure we move them to the front of the class, but actually we need to be thinking about sight impairment as well. And where someone's placed, if they had tunnel vision, they would need to be directly at the end of the table in line with this. You put them anywhere else, they wouldn't see anything. Okay? And also to be thinking as well about working with money. I did bring money, and I did have that as an exercise, but obviously Irene dropped out at the last minute, so I didn't take that on my plan. But it was also to think about money as well. Even working with money is really hard if you've got impairment or sight impairment, because if I show you the amount of different coins that actually look the same.
Great, oh yeah, it's very good.
I've got some foreign ones in there, I've got all sorts, and they all look the same. So it's quite hard, isn't it? Okay, any information that I've given you, is there anything else that you think you could add to this? Obviously I've given you a handout to help you for future if you're working with anybody. There's also, if you look on the back of the handout, there's some useful websites on there. There's a number of websites now that are particularly good with working with sight impairment. And I recommend all of those ones on there. I've been in constant contact with a lot of them, and they really are incredibly helpful. They send you all sorts of things if you're if you get up a nice rapport. I'm sure you've got that, so I'll totally have you. A nice rapport with some of the associations. They're very, very helpful. Okay. Any questions about anything I've covered? And anything else that you'd like me to talk about?
You covered it really well. Okay, I'll learn a lot there.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah?
These are really...
I could say, I'm happy to leave the glasses out for you to have another look at if you want to. It gives you a bit of an idea. I think the thing about it's all very well having a handout with it saying this is what you'd see, but actually when you do it and you put the glasses on, it makes a massive difference. I cared for someone with tunnel vision, and he didn't have these. He had a very posh pair that he bought, and every time there was a new carer went in, he'd say to them, and this is how we did it right the way along, but that's what I can see. And it made such a difference to the level of care.
Can you get glasses or some form of aid that will actually help tunnel vision? Can it actually...
Well, there's lots of things on the market that some people don't like them. I work with people and they don't like using them. But then, like you say, there are lots of aids out there, and a lot of the associations I put in there would be very helpful. So they're good websites. If you have to work with someone, they're very, very good websites to work with. And they are very helpful. And they'll give you whatever they can.
Yeah,
okay. And that's the end of my talk. I hope you've taken something away from it. And to follow up, really, is just to say that obviously I've given you some further reading places to go, but just bear it in mind when you're training people and teaching people, because it is one of the hidden barriers. We don't always see it. That's a bit of a pun there.